The next presidential election is more than 2.5 years away, but you'd never know it from the way the press is covering Hillary Clinton. If she runs, the former First Lady and Secretary of State will be a presumptive favorite. But as Clinton weighs her options, the press is acting like a White House bid is a done deal. WGBH News reporter Adam Riley has more.
ABC News treated Diane Sawyer's one-hour interview with Hillary Clinton as a major television event, complete with breathless teases.
Tomorrow night, 1 hour, no question off the table.
And post-game analysis.
There's been much reaction already to your book and your interview last night with Diane.
But whether Sawyer's sit-down lived up to the hype is debatable. There were substantive moments, including a back and forth on Benghazi that impressed critics.
Are you saying it's just the price of doing business?
I'm saying that we have to be very thoughtful.
But other exchanges were less scintillating.
If you watch Dancing with the Stars, is it Max or Derek?
Which raises the question, as Clinton hawks a new book, was a one-hour primetime special overkill? Hello! To be fair, other outlets are giving Clinton a platform too. On NPR's Fresh Air, Clinton got testy when host Terry Gross pressed her on gay marriage.
I have to say, I think you are being very persistent, but you are playing with my words and playing with what is such an important issue.
I'm just trying to clarify so I can understand.
No, I don't think you are trying to clarify.
And when a politician is as scripted as Clinton, an exchange like that is definitely news.
Yeah, that made news all day today. I have to say, I listened to both of these interviews. I thought they were extremely well done. I didn't think they give, because earlier in the week I was reading reports, the mainstream, the liberal press, they're going to give Hillary Clinton a pass. No one gave her a pass. It was tough. And actually, Hillary fired back a couple times. When Diane said, "Oh, you're going to be 69 on Inauguration Day," she says, "Yeah, and you're going to be older than that." Yes. It was, some good stuff. But I mean, this whole idea that you're going to give somebody a primetime special. She's not a declared candidate. I understand that, but it's definitely the publicity machine is in full crank, and Hillary's very good to this. She talked about how well she prepared and practiced for these. She knew exactly what questions every single person was going to ask her.
Well, it's a long ways before the 2016 presidential campaign. I mean, after the midterm elections, then I think we could criticize the media for giving Hillary Clinton such a platform, especially if she says that she's going to run. At this point, she's got a book to push. She's good for ratings. Why not? And especially if you're going to be reasonably tough, as Diane Sawyer definitely was. I was in my car when Terry Gross was interviewing her, and it was an extremely friendly conversation. Terry Gross was being persistent because Clinton was kind of being all over the place, and all of a sudden Hillary just starts kind of snapping at her, and I said, boy, she's really out of practice here.
I would have to say there's been a kind of a thin line of sexism in the pre-comments, like, well, these are all going to be fluff interviews, and I think it's because all of the interviews except one are women. And so the expectation is Diane Sawyer is going to just say, she's
one of us.
Yeah, I don't know. What makeup are you buying? I don't know what they think Diane Sawyer is doing every day. Come on. So, and for that matter, Terry Gross as well. It can be friendly. You can have a friend. There's nothing wrong with having a friendly conversation, but you can also be tough. So I'd have to say that. Listen. Everybody knows this is a publicity thing. So if we bite, that's not on her. That's on us. The thing is, nobody wants to say no. In fact, people are fighting to say yes. So if I'm Hillary Clinton and I'm selling a book or I'm positioning myself or whatever I'm doing, shoot, I'd go for it too.
I think, this is so carefully rehearsed. There isn't a question, I suspect, that she's gotten that she wasn't prepared to answer. And I also think that even with Terry Gross and with Diane Sawyer, there was going to be some point in that interview where she would push back and snap, because that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good thing to push back at reporters. Oh, I do.
Oh.
Now, they may not have said that Terry Gross is going to ask you this question or Diane, but they'd say, now at some point, what you've got to do is you've got to clash and go back, because journalists are always, nobody likes journalists on television, so if you snap back at a journalist, that's a good thing. She got points for that.
Well, it's an important book. I don't want to lose track of that. This is, Robert M. Gates did a book, Duty, his book on being the Secretary of Defense. Here we have the Secretary of State at a time of terrific turmoil, And she needs to defend herself and her position in that book. And I think it's perfectly normal for these interviewers to get testy. They're both great interviewers. I mean, Terry Gross is a delight to listen to. Because she does have a hard edge on things, and she knows books, for sure. She knows books. So I thought it was very good that they came out that way. But I just don't want to lose track of the fact that that's an important book that needs to be looked at to see what it says about this potential candidate.
Yeah, but the media is always in a losing proposition when they interview her. If they're really tough on her, people start crying sexism and you wouldn't ask so and so about this. Not like that dopey question that Diane asked about Dancing with the Stars. They probably wouldn't ask that.
Nope,
although they did
right.
like boxers and briefs or whatever.
Yeah.
So stupid things have come up. But if they're really tough, they're accused of being sexist. If they're lenient, they're accused of being the liberal bias or the feminine bias or whatever it is. So it's a no-win.
Listen, short of her reaching over and slapping somebody, it's a win-win for her. It really
is. Of course it is.
I mean, how can it be bad?
Yeah.
It can't be.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to buy the book or
no, good for her. But it's never. The press is never going to win.
Well, that's right.
But it's kind of a win-win for the press too, because you've got conservative media critics saying, "Gee, Diane Sawyer was pretty good. Terry Gross was pretty good."
Yeah.